On the Ministry of Agriculture, we had a minimum of 30 retweets per minute, and this is the highest since we started the ministerial platform. So congratulations, sir. Well, we will start with the questions from environment. Honorable Minister of Environment, tree planting along our roads and streets is one of the viable tools in checking erosion and environmental degradation, as well as balancing ecosystem in our nation. So, Madam, what is your ministry doing in the area of tree planting, which is now a forgotten event in our system? This question is coming from one Alfred Sunday Chinedu, Department of Architecture, Anambra State University, Uli. Another question is Abuja Green City Project. Honorable Minister of Environment, how far with this project? Honorable Minister of Environment, you have an agency under your ministry called National Oil Spill Detection and Response Agency, NOSGRA. But still, Nigeria witnessed series of oil spillages which affects the environment. Are you therefore making any moves to make oil spillage a criminal offense in this country in order to control the nation's environmental pollution? This is coming from one Mr. Bestman from Port Harcourt. Also, Minister, you said recently that efforts have reached advanced stage to phase out the use of polythene bags in this country in favor of paper bags because they are not degradable. Please, what do we pure water producers use? Or are you trying to put us out of business? This is coming from one Mr. Peter Okoro from Mararaba in Nasarawa State. And for Minister of Agriculture, this one is coming from one Lami Ali from Yola. She said, you were quoted to have said that you cannot be a minister of food importation. What do you mean? Again, another question is coming from a diabetic patient with the name Ima Ibiora from Enugu. He said, Honorable Minister of Agriculture, you have been talking of cassava bread all over. Have you thought of the medical implications of this bread because of its high starch content, particularly for diabetic patients? And then this one goes to the Honorable Minister of State, Agriculture. He said in 2009, Dr. Tijani, under your leadership as coordinator, National Food Program on Security, an agro-industrialization program which was meant to establish agro-processing factories in each state of the Federation under a PPP arrangement was formed. That the various agro-processing factories proposed for the implementation in this program consisted of rice, cassava, palm oil, groundnut, green flour, kilishi, and fish processing. Sir, contractors and investors in this program are complaining of delayed payments after execution of jobs because there is no substantive head to take charge since after you left. What is the problem, sir? Please ensure that this program does not fail. This one is coming from one Alhaji Kabiru Tahir from Kaduna. These are the questions from my own side. I will now call Yaya Umar to please come and read out the questions from his own side. Yaya.
From Saka Adepoju in Ontario, Texas, via email. Here in Texas, farming is A class. It is not just business, it is an industry. The land in Nigeria is fertile and massive. Honorable Minister of Agriculture, get more machinery, get more quality seeds, more farmhouses and infrastructure, more farm clinics, massive agricultural advertisement, register more farmers cooperative, etc. Remember, most of the millionaires in the 1950s and 1960s were farmers. Cassava bread and the policy on rice is commendable. Let Nigerians be informed. The two ministers of agriculture in Nigeria have erasers that must be used to erase unemployment and poverty. From Kaltume Abubakar in Doha via Facebook, the new gold mine in the world is biofuel. Dr. Akinwumi Adesina and Hajia Hadiza Mailafia, are you thinking and working in that direction? From Mr. Gambo Shebu, Jos Plateau State. Please, I want the Agriculture Minister to note that up until now, the fertilizer has the ministry do within weeks. From Ikenna in Abia State, does your ministry monitor the disbursement of the 1 billion naira Agric loan from the federal government? Some state governors misappropriate this fund and use it for other things. Want you to set up teams to monitor it. Thank you.
Thank you, Yaya. The floor is now open, and I will start with members of the press. And we are taking only 5 questions. So, yes, Daily Trust, please, I coordinate. Daily Trust, please. Come here, right here. Yes.
My name is Alex.
Hello, take charge.
Hello. Thank you very much. My name is Alex Abutu. I work for Daily Trust newspapers. My question goes to the Environment Minister. You've told us so much about the floods and the prediction we're expecting this year. Please, we want to know what measures that have been put in place to forestall the kind of casualties we saw last year. Thank you.
Abiodun Olue. Hurry up, please. Your name?
My name is Abiodun Olue from News Agency of Nigeria. And my question goes to Madam. What measures do you have in place to protect the Nigerians from the harmful emission from telecommunication stations?
This day newspapers, hurry up please. The time is really catching up on us. Your name, sir?
Yeah. My name is Onyebuchi Eziwo. I work for this day newspapers. The Honorable Minister of Environment, my question is on the planned ban of use of sachet water or sale of sachet water. Some Nigerians, particularly those in the lower income cadre, are wondering what kind of replacement the government intended to put in place before effecting the ban. And secondly, there is this issue in your presentation. You did say, in coming to try and prevent the kind of calamity we had last year through flood, that the government is putting in place some climate change intervention services to help ameliorate the issue. We want you to throw more light on what kind of services you want to put in place in that direction. Thank you.
The lady. Please listen attentively. If your question has been asked, don't come and repeat it here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Nkechinyere Itodo from Voice of Nigeria. I want to ask the Honorable Minister of Environment what strategies the government has put on the ground to prepare Nigerians for the proposed biodegradable technology that will be introduced in Nigeria very soon to control wastes.
Gentleman in suits, quickly.
Thank you so much. I'm Barrister J.C. Obialo. I'm an environmental lawyer. My question goes to the Honorable Minister of Environment. I want to commend you, ma, for raising the penalty of fine from 1 million naira to $500,000. But if I may ask, why did the country that sent this waste, having Nigeria as its destination, not send it to Ghana or Cameroon or even Niger? There are most likely two. Is it that Nigeria is not patriotic enough, and that is why we are not destination for West, or that we are not so committed as to protect our environment? Now the question is this, man. Nigeria can successfully maintain an action at the head against the country from where this waste is coming from. Successfully, we can maintain an action against them in the head. Secondly, the ship that was seized, as far as I'm concerned, 500,000 naira is nothing. Because they could do it, yes. 500,000 is nothing. What? You think they cannot? Okay, for example, when there was environmental pollution in America by the British Petroleum, they imposed a fine of $1 billion on them. So I think we can raise it from $500,000 to a minimum of $10 million. This will scare people away from ever attempting it, and action should be maintained against that country that brought this waste. Thank you so much.
Your next, sir.
Yeah. Okay. My name is Sunday Oriala. I'm an environmentalist. My question is going to both agriculture and environment. Why is it that maize horse and fertilizer horse are being burnt to provide energy at Sokoto Cement and at Abakaleke, because they are starving the soil of fertility ingredient? Thank you very much.
Peter.
Yes, thank you, Honorable Minister, sir. My name is Pastor Jason Warren. I'm the Chief Executive Officer, Jason Warren Company Limited. Then, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. President promised us fresh air, and the two ministers have underscored the fact that he is giving us fresh air. Please put your hands together for Mr. President for the fresh air. Now, Honorable Minister of Agriculture, who I admire so very much, my friend, you said in your presentation that you have not done anything about fish yet. Now, how many million years do we have to wait for you to do something about the fish? Because if nobody wants to fish, our group wants to fish. We are paying so many billions to Scandinavian countries for fish importation. I need them in my pocket. Now, to the Minister of Environment, Honorable Minister, you said that you are doing so much about erosion. I'm from Anambra State, and the problem of erosion in Nanka is giving me headache. I want to stand here to say that we represent a consortium and a funding portfolio worth over $100 billion, which we are prepared to put at the disposal of Mr. President to be able to deal with the issue of oil gluts, oil spillage, erosion, and the likes. We need you ministers to arrange meeting between us and Mr. President so that he can sustain the fresh air he's giving us. Put your hands together for Mr. President.
Good afternoon, honorable ministers and wonderful audience. I am Mazi Chidikuko, Naya Africa. I have a direct question because of time to Dr. Akinwumi Adesina. Sir, we wrote to your office on 8th of March with regard to intervention to graduate youth farmers in Ada rice farm in Enugu State.
Please, those that are sharing this rice, take it easy, please. They will wait and collect it. You are distracting us, please.
The letter we wrote to your office, we are happy you responded very promptly, and we acknowledge that you are working fast. On that occasion, we had a meeting with DD Cereals, and the result is that you are working to see that they supply with seeds and other inputs. Since March till now, land preparation has been done in that farm. The graduate youths have been begging for inputs. We were asked to make sure they register with the database, and we are able to make sure that they will register. So how can we get intervention to these youth farmers, because they are all graduates? Some of them have masters, one of them has a PhD, still in the farm, begging for inputs and begging for even stipends to work. That is for you. For a Minister of Environment, please, one question. How can we handle e-waste in conjunction with medical waste because of the tendency for corroding the soil? Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Dr. Sani Abdullahi, the Executive Director of Farmers Chronicle newspaper. My question goes to the Minister of Agric. You know, to every development there are indicators, and Agric Ministry is where the indicators is very important. I would like to know, what are your indicators to average Nigerians, not to us here listening to the presentation and the theory, but what are the indicators to the ordinary Nigerians outside there? Because I have not effectively seen any decrease in rice and the prices of the rice, bread, and every other interventions you have. You are talking about. And aside that, the rainy season is fast going into ending, and as we stand, most most farmers are yet to receive inputs for the farming season. When do they hope to get this?
Talking to yourselves. We're on air. As soon as the airtime is over, they will cut us off. Please.
Thank you very much. My name is Lizzie Ibine. And to the Minister of Agriculture, while I thank you for giving us the seeds and fertilizers, I want to ask you, what is your plan for the markets? Because we need a farmer's market. We have to sell all these things. And I want to talk to Mommy. Please, on the training of only 200 women in organic fertilizer, it is low. It is where the whole world is going. We want all our women to be trained and to be literate on how to convert our waste to wealth. Thank you very much.
Well done. Thank you. I want a multi-agency collaboration. I'm Okoya Reze. I want a multi-agency collaboration where the waste disposal vehicles, you will see that Nigerian young men and women who are working hard stay at the back of those vehicles. Let there be a policy ban by the Minister of Environment, the Minister of Health, and other agencies, AEBB, so that let it go around the country.
let human beings not follow those trucks. The hell that is coming out are being inhaled by these Nigerians because they are disadvantaged. There should be every truck. Those who are getting those waste and putting in those trucks should have a truck that is hillocks following them. There should be a tough sanction. Many Nigerians are put to serious abuse. It's very tragic.
Thank you very much.
Please let it be a serious policy.
My name is Tola Fasheru. I'm the National President for the National Cashew Association of Nigeria. I would like to very much thank Mr. President for this opportunity. This is democracy of accountability and responsibility. The Honorable Minister of Agriculture, we appreciate your great effort in all that you are doing. I know that you didn't have time to make comment on the cashew value chain. Since you came in, even though cashew has been neglected, that sector has been neglected, but immediately you came in, you brought the cashew sector into your agricultural transformation agenda, and that has made the sector to witness a whole lot of changes and development. Earlier this year, we had the national... Let me finish. See, I will ask my question. But you see, in Nigeria, it's also important to say certain things that are happening. We should learn to do that. It is important. It is important. For the first time, we had a national action plan for the cashew sector, which is looking at putting in place the short-term plan, the medium-term plan, and the long-term plan for this sector that will produce more jobs and employment, wealth for people. So, and I think we should say this year, with the support of the Honorable Minister, we won the hosting right to host the World Cashew Festival and Expo, which is coming up between the 16th and 19th of September. We are bringing in over 1,000 people from 40 nations, and I think it's good. Then the other aspect is this. The Honorable Minister, sir, the area that immediately I want to point out that I need you to support us. Indeed, you have been a minister of value addition. I want us to, as you have been working with us, to move very fast in the area of processing. Let me finish. Today, 80% of the cashew that we produce is being exported raw. I want to plead with you to please speed up your plans and your actions in seeing that we can cashew that we have in Nigeria.
Can we continue, or is it time up? Okay.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. I'm Tolokwe Iwa from a non-governmental organization. Please, sir, is there any plan for a national food market information system? Then secondly, when are we having the Agricultural Marketing Corporation you promised last year while you were in interview? Then lastly, when are we also going to have a specialized agro-commodities exchange for our farmers nationwide? Thank you very much.
My name is Halima Umar Saleh. I report for Voice of Nigeria. Honorable Minister, sir, Minister of Agriculture, I have like 10 questions for you, but I will only ask one. There is state of emergency in 3 states in the country, and I want to know how can the farmers in those states get their fertilizer for this year's rainy season, because the fertilizer and the seeds reach the farmers only through the mobile phones, and we know that there is no network service in those areas.
Yes. My name is Comrade Bennett Uchem. I have one question for the Honorable Minister of Agric. This fertilizer bill approved by FERC, how will it encourage the rural farmers? The fertilizer bill approved by the FERC, how will it encourage the rural farmers?
Well
My name is Dr. Galadima Bagudo from Sokoto, representing CAFAN National President. The Honorable Minister of Agriculture, you have done very well in aquaculture, but I want to ask, what are you doing about fish feed in the country? Number two, you mentioned the banks to help in agriculture. For example, in aquaculture, how can you help us get these bank loans? Because the bank loan is becoming very, very serious to get. So what can you do to help CAFAN? Thank you very much.
Okay, in 5 minutes, I will comply. Tree planting. The person who asked that question, tree planting is being transformed in the manner it is done. It is no longer the symbolic tree planting where a head of government or governor or minister will go and plant a tree that you will never see 2 months after. What we're doing is getting people to own ownership of trees that you plant. So it is not a foregone conclusion. It is transformation. When you plant, it is your own, you nurture, because trees have life. The second question, Abuja Garden Green City. The city is proposed to be on 2,000 hectares of land. The FCT minister has approved 500 hectares for phase 1, and we're expecting the title any moment. When the title comes, we continue working. The proposed bill on NOSRA is in the National Assembly. When it comes up, there will be more stringent measures on those oil companies that pollute. Remember that this is transformation in action. Before now, these things were happening unattended to. The paper bags that you asked after, we're not just saying that we're wiping out everything. We're saying that we're setting in place a discourse by those in the sector, those involved in that kind of business. What best will you do? If you just come up and say, don't use water sachets, replace it with X or Y, what will be the socio-economic effect on the average Nigerian? How much does it cost to buy pure water? Now, how much will it cost? Of course, if you have a variance, that variance must be justified in economic and in health terms. The next question, Alex Abutu, what measures are we talking about? We're dredging some of the major rivers across the country. Sagwama River is being dredged. The Asa River in Ilorin is being dredged. We have raised sensitization, advocacy, and awareness as to cleaning up the environment to avoid reoccurrence of flood. We are constructing flood conveyance and barriers and retention structures along our rivers, working with the Ministry of Works, working with the Ministry of Water Resources. We have also expanded automated flood forecasting system from the 4 we used to have to 120 in 12 hydrological basins. We have upgraded our websites. We have also expanded the community-based flood early warning systems. Greatest of all, we're working with NEMA. I had the privilege of also attending a regional conference that involved all West African countries, because when the environment is affected, it's not only here. The Lagdo Dam last year, so much noise about Lagdo Dam in Cameroon. So we have a regional network in place. And I'm glad to inform you that because of the effort of the Nigerian government, the Director General of NEMA was elected chairman, unopposed. We're working hard. Harmful emissions, communications technology. You know that there has always been contentions. What is Nestra doing? Why are we saying we don't want phones? We're saying that if you place it in the right place, if you comply, we don't have objection. We have objection to issues where communication service providers, where the service providers place their base stations in places that are not environmentally acceptable to us, because there are standards, there are regulations. The organization was set up by government and it has a specified action to address. Why did we not see the ship in Ghana or Cameroon or Niger? That sounds more like an answer than a question. Why we saw it here or why we arrested the ship is because before now, people were obstinate in the manner they behaved towards the Nigerian nation. Now we're saying that whether you're from Europe or from anywhere, it is not acceptable. All that this presentation is about a transformation of what used to, what is, and what we hope should be. Mazi, how can we handle solid waste? We're working hard. Again, that is recycling. And we're working hard to say, by setting up the samples of what you saw today, the processing plants that we have. Finally, for want of 5 minutes, I think that is 4 minutes, isn't it? Oh, 3 minutes. Thank you, Odushote. My former PAMSEC says 3 minutes. So 1 more minute. Ladies and gentlemen, Honorable Minister Information, Honorable Minister Agric, Honorable Minister of State, distinguished members of the press, and to all Nigerians, environment is on the concurrent list. States and local governments must key in. In every home, we have a trash bin where you keep either in the kitchen or outside. You determine what you want to put inside. There are certain things you throw in the toilet. There are certain things you throw in the dustbin in the kitchen. And there are certain forms of refuse you take outside. All we're asking Nigerians is comply with environmental laws. I want to finally say that we give kudos to the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria because of his interest and awareness. Because he is well informed about the environment, in September this year, a national summit on environment will take place and will involve international community and all of you talking about degradable material and non-degradable material. I'm sure Akin will continue from there. If you continue to use the pure water sachets and the black leather, you will be affecting productivity. You will be affecting your health. The emissions and pollutions we keep on tolerating are not acceptable. Finally, the last minute, I want to thank most profoundly the gentleman who contributed about Nigerians sitting on lorries or vehicles that carry waste. I think that is one area that we need to address. Without being militant, you can tell your employer that this is not environmentally friendly. Driving to a meeting, I saw a truck driving along the road with everything coming out of it. And I told my team, park. And we had to park in the middle of the road here in Abuja. And because the vehicle was not properly covered, they were flying, everything was flying out, all the refuse. Which means if it is something that is contagious or hazardous, if you're driving 1 kilometer, you will swell 1 kilometer. Once they stopped, the first thing they said is, hey, it's Minister of Environment, which means that Nigerians know. And this is why we've been calling on our agency and all other people that we need to enforce. Enforcement is the law. Democracy should not be taken for granted. So it is our hope that even without the compulsion of why in the military era, that ladies and gentlemen, you will help us to comply with environmental laws. I hope I've answered all the questions.
Thank you, Honorable Minister of Environment. May I now invite the Honorable Minister of Agriculture to come and answer his own part of the questions. Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much for your excellent comments and participation. I'll be pretty quick in responding. First is Lamin Ali from Yola. What do I mean? I don't want to be, I'm not Minister of Food Import. I'll repeat the same thing. I am not Minister of Food Import. It's very clear. We are importing too much food and we ought to be producing and exporting food. That's what I mean. We should be producing a lot of what we eat, and then why shouldn't we be an exporting country for food? So Nigeria, as far as I'm concerned, has no business importing food, should be exporting food. Now for Ima Ubioran, about the cassava bread and the diabetics. Actually, Ima, let me tell you very clearly, since you are diabetic, you should know better. But actually, if you're diabetic, you want to eat something for which the glycemic index is low. Because glycemic index basically means the speed at which sugar breaks down and enters your body. So the more you eat something with high level of sugar that breaks down and enters your body, then you get a worsening situation. Here is the fact. Cassava bread glycemic index is 57. Glycemic index for wheat bread, white flour with bread, is 71. So you decide which one is actually better for you. Actually, the glycemic index of cassava is lower than that of wheat bread. So if you like your health, eat more cassava bread, you'll be much better than you are right now. In terms of Segun Adepoju, about machinery from Texas, register for more farmers, that's what we're doing. We launched this year our first effort in terms of mechanization. We launched a 3.5 billion naira facility for tractor hiring mechanization services. There are 80 of those across the country that are fully equipped. So we are actually going to be giving support for farmers for tractor hiring services, just the same way we give for seed and fertilizers. So farmers will get it over their mobile phones, and we are running that across the country. Now, when it comes to the issue of using agriculture to erase poverty, that's what we are doing. Agriculture is not a way of life. Agriculture is a business. And I hope that from listening to me, you are convinced that agriculture is a business. That is how we do it. We are not interested in poverty reduction. No. We are interested in massive wealth creation, and that's what we are doing. For Segun in Plateau State, I think we are rolling out the fertilizer and seed. Actually, we rolled out on Monday, and it continues the rollout. We just started on Monday, so you will get it very, very, very soon. Question, Ikena, 1 billion naira facility from the state government, that we should make sure that the ministry monitors this. Let me be very clear, the 1 billion naira, sorry, excuse me, can we have some quiet? Yeah. But let me say that the 1 billion naira facility is not from the Ministry of Agriculture. It is from the Central Bank of Nigeria, what is called Commercial Agricultural Credit Scheme. Each state applies for it, so it's in the domain of the states, and I believe the states will use the money the way that it should be used. When it comes to the issue of the maize husk, I think I'm glad the Minister of the Environment is here. I think that's why a lot of information and training, some of the things she has been talking about, will help so that farmers don't burn a lot of the husks. Now, on fisheries, how many fishery people do we have here? Please, can you stop the distribution of that until I finish? Stop until I finish. Yes. Stop that distribution until I am done. Okay. Let me talk about the issue of fisheries. What are we doing? Nigeria spends 97 billion naira importing fish every year, and that doesn't make any sense. For all the water we have, the lakes, the creeks, everything we have, we should not be importing fish. What are we doing? First and foremost, we had to change leadership in the fishery department. Mrs. Ariola is here, you can get up. She's the director of fisheries right now for us to move things for us. Here are the things that we are doing. We are moving fingerling for 250,000 metric tons. And when you talk about value addition, 100,000 metric tons of value addition. What have we accomplished on fish? If I had more time, I would like to talk about fish. But let me tell you what we did. We have established 2 fish feed mills in Ibadan and in Ogun State. We have 62 fish farmers that have fish farm estates. And fish farm estates are big estates that we have completed with 62 businesses. Fish cage farming, which is on 52 and 21 strategic locations. Talk about large-scale processing of fish. We have 2 large-scale processing of fish plants in Jeba, in Kwara, and in Baga, in Bono. When you talk in terms of shrimps, we exported as a country 3,967 metric tons of fish shrimp last year that earned us $45 million. In terms of GES, the GES we've been doing for seed and for fertilizer, Mr. President directed that this year we should begin GES for fish. And so this year we are launching massive effort for fisher folks, for fish feed, for fingerlings, outbound motorboats, and every other thing. So for the first time, fishermen in this country will get support straight from the federal government of Nigeria. And finally, we're talking about staple crop processing zones. We have 3 staple crop processing zones that will be for fish. You know that we have a problem with the issue of fish terminals. Most of the terminals we have also, even in deep sea, we have a lot of piracy. We lose so many people on the sea, and we are working on that. Now, let me just say, because there are a few things. Marketing Corporation, yes, we are working on that. We've already done the due process for cocoa, for cassava, and horticulture. They have already been done, awarded, and those will be up and running this year. On cashew, I think the cashew guys are doing a fabulous job. Let me tell you, they are the second biggest exporter of non-traditional export from Nigeria. When it comes to the issue of agricultural commodity exchange. My ministry, the Ministry of Trade and Investment, the Ministry of Finance are working. We will set up the Abuja Security Commodity Exchange in the hand of private sector effective from this year. And there will be market price information for farmers on their mobile phones so they can track information. When it comes to the issue of emergency in the areas of the 3 states, how will they get their fertilizers? We are going to work offline. So we have staff on ground. In fact, myself and the Minister of State and the Permanent Secretary, I have said our job is not to sit down in Abuja. Effective next week, all of us are moving out to the field. We'll be on the field for the next 3 weeks to make sure every single farmer that should get their fertilizers gets it. On the fertilizer bill and rural farmers, what does it mean? It means this: don't cheat our farmers. If you sell adulterated fertilizers, where it is NPK 15, 15, 15, and we find it is 005, or you are selling sand for farmers, you will go to jail for 7 years, because that impact on our farmers and environment is very serious, and that's what the Minister of the Environment is talking about. Last point, Dr. Maladi, on fish feed, I think I've answered your question. At the end of the day, you may see the Ministerial, who is the fish director. Thank you very much for your excellent question.
We thank the Honorable Minister of Agriculture. May we now invite his co-pilot to react to his own question.
Thank you so much. I have only one question. 2009, medium-sized agro-processing zones in 29 states. At that time, the federal government has a grant policy where the FGN is given 40% of total cost of each of 29. It's not 36 actually. And I vividly remember that I have signed with my team at that time 800 million naira, which is the cost of all the 29, to be transferred to the Bank of Bank of Industry. And since then, some of them have been implemented very well, while others are still in process. But the question is for us to fast track the payments of these delayed payments. I am sure the coordinator of the NPFS program and our team, I will ask our PAMSEC to make sure that this is being paid immediately. And I will also add to my special supervision to see that these 29 are completed. I think that is what has been required of this. This is in addition to all the rice mills, the major 17 ones and others. So I want to assure Alhaji Kabiru from Kaduna that we are going to fast track the payments of these delayed payments. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. May we now invite the Honorable Minister of Information to give the concluding remarks. Honorable Minister.
Well, my sister, in every sector, in every MDA, if you go to see the details of what they are doing, you'll see that from this year onwards, the results of Mr. President's transformation program are coming clearly on in every sector. Now, you see that in the next few months, 26 recycling plants will be coming on board. That is the plan of the Ministry of Environment, 26 recycling plants. And then for e-recycling plants, they are discussing with the original companies that manufacture electronic equipment to ensure they come to recycle the waste in PPP arrangements with the private sector in our country. Now you have 430 homes at Bagega cleaned up, 497 speed sites cleaned up, 15 projects, environmental projects completed in 2 years, and several other things we have had here today. When you hear of ministries like environment, Nigerians say, what is going on there? What are they doing? Please listen. These ministries that don't sound big usually to our ears, they are where our lives depend, and this government is doing a lot of things to make sure that we move Nigeria forward. So I congratulate my sister for what she's doing in environment. Environment is our lives. And it's not only on the concurrent list. Environment is every Nigerian's business, every human being's business. Some of the habits we develop we don't keep our homes clean, we don't clean our environment, unless you see the sanitary inspector and they have no longer been there for a long time until now, we keep refuse everywhere. They will come back to haunt us. A number of the problems we create for ourselves is where we are now suffering. And let me remind you, 500 early warning flood systems all over the country. So if you continue to build that house on a floodplain, if any state government or local government allows people to build without environmental impact assessment, the floods will come and people will be killed. We should avoid all this because right now I believe we're in a position to avoid them. So the Minister of Environment, congratulations. When agriculture is the big story for Nigeria. Is the big story for Nigeria. Now I told you that from what the president has done under the new agricultural transformation program, agriculture in Nigeria will no longer be the same. It will no longer be the same. Now you can see that we have moved from farming to agriculture as business. We have moved from agriculture as producing raw materials for Europe, while we Nigerians will be producing raw materials, which was what David Ricardo wrote in the last century. You remember the Ricardo theory of comparative advantage. Africans are only good to produce raw materials. Europe will have the industries to manufacture. Why was it so? Because it is in manufacturing that the money lies. It is in processing that the value is added. So for quite a century, since the British came here, we have been busy trying to produce raw materials and selling raw materials to Europe. Now that story must change, and agriculture is where the change is taking place. So if we produce cassava, we are now having the capacity to process it. If we produce rice, we are not developing the capacity to process it. So whatever we produce, we will not say it road to anywhere, we will manufacture. And that is where Adesina and Tijani are working with the president to change. Today, look at what we have had. Over 2 million jobs in 2 years. Over 1.1 million metric tons of rice in one season. These things were not happening in this country before. They were not happening before. So when I went to KB and I saw acres, kilometers and kilometers of rice farms in KB, and I think the governor of KB and also Zamfara and several states must be congratulated. In KB, the governor put in more than 5 billion to buy hand pumps to his own farmers, to network with Ministry of Agriculture to produce the rice we sow in KB. Now, if every governor in the north does something like that, I can assure you that there will not only be sustainable peace, the youth will be too busy to be recruited by anybody. And indeed, it is in agriculture. And the story was clear. When we went to KB, the place was quiet. We saw hundreds of thousands of youths on their rice farms. Nobody has the time to go and mislead them. So I think the responsibility is for all the 3 tiers of government to work together. And we'll continue to emphasize this. Nigeria has the capacity not only to produce rice, cassava, maize, sorghum for our country, but indeed to supply Africa and the rest of the world. And I think where we're heading now, we must tell you clearly, for those who continue to sit down there and make noise about what we are doing, we continue to tell you, we went to the field physically to show you this project. We are coming back here to give you accountability. Now this president, to the best of my knowledge, has done far more than many have done for quite a while. And he may be insulted, because we're in partisan times, he may be insulted, he may be abused. That you are doing well doesn't mean that partisan people will not abuse you. But when he leaves, he's likely to end up as the best president in recent memory. I thank you for your attention. God bless you.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we've all had it. And I believe the people in this sector are really transforming their sectors. Can we all now rise and give Mr. President and the entire ministers who have so far presented a big round of applause? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Please, can we be seated? Well, just to inform you that we have clean cooking stoves here. We do have an exhibition going out there. You are cordially invited to come and watch. Again, just for a reminder, the Summit on Environment is coming up in September, and you will all be
making platform session. We conclude the session of week 2 of the 2013 Ministerial platform. Uniquely, the 2 ministers on the platform today, Agriculture under Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, and Environment under Hajia Hadiza Mailafia, are key stakeholders in the Nigerian economy, and their enormous contributions to the well-being of the people cannot be overemphasized. The 2 sectors come across as being independent, but very much intertwined. Both ministries have superlatively performed well in shedding more light on gray areas which ordinary people in Nigeria had little or no knowledge about, and exposing Nigerians and the global community to the salient achievements of our dear President, Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan's administration in the Ministries of Agriculture and Environment. The cardinal role that the Federal Ministry of Agriculture plays under its current leadership in the production of food and the attendant development and workability of the value chain matrix, which lifts agriculture from a mere sustenance practice to real sector activity, I attribute to the facility of the minds of his leadership in the 2 ministers. Thank you, honorable ministers. On the other hand, the provision of a favorable atmosphere to harness both human and natural resources in a world that is today besieged by both human and industrial hazardous distortions in all its ramifications is being frontally engaged by the Federal Ministry of Environment under our dear Hajia. Thank you once again, Honorable Minister. To the Honorable Minister of Information, Mr. Labaran Maku, I say a big thank you for your fervent support and commitment to the sustenance of this platform. I also wish to thank my dear colleagues, the permanent secretaries in the Ministry of Agriculture and Environment, the heads of the various parastatals and CEOs of agencies of the 2 ministries, and the top management staff of the participating ministries for their positive drive leading to the excellent presentations we have had today. Finally, I sincerely appreciate the gentlemen of the press, the social media operators, and the coordinating and ground staff of the National Press Center, the 2 masters of ceremony, and indeed, all the unnamed persons known to God, who have each played one role or the other to make today's presentation a success. Thank you all for your rapt attention, and God bless you, and have a beautiful weekend.
We thank the Permanent Secretary, Federal Minister of Information, for thanking us. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we have now come to the end of this program, but we expect that